Shout out to everybody coming up in the space. Please go ahead and go ahead and tweet the space out as well too. We started up on YouTube as well, so we got to talk about the both of these topics tonight. I just saw, I just realized that they actually had a new Color Purple movie coming out. That's you talking about. Damn, when you think about it, that's almost 40 years ago when Color Purple came out. I say it came out in 1985. Good lord.
Yeah, man, I remember when it came out, and I tell you, everybody, it was really bad, total, when it came out, because everybody was talking about how Oprah Winfrey looked. Because they said she was one ugly woman, man. Everybody was talking about that. And
Well, I remember more
which
so.
I
It
thought,
seemed like it was more so Whoopi Goldberg they was talking about than Oprah. Oprah was just a big girl, but yeah, it was.
well, yeah, they actually was talking about. You're right, they were talking about both of them, but see, but with Whoopi Goldberg, she was always considered to be somewhat of an ugly woman anyway. But with Oprah Winfrey, I don't know what it was, man. It's like everybody said in that movie, they just made her look really miserable and ugly in the movie. And but at the same time, she played that part. I mean, she really did a great job in playing her character, and Whoopi Goldberg did too. Um, but I'm very surprised because you are talking about something that's close to 40 years here that they're coming out with a new one now. So
Yeah, it's coming out with a new one, and I saw some of these comments and tweets I've been reading and stuff the past day or so, and you got a lot of people that's not exactly happy campers. I want to get both perspectives on it. I want to hear people that's looking forward to seeing the remake of it, and I also want to hear other people that say, we could have done without a remake of The Color Purple as well too. So as always in the space, I want to hear both sides of the argument. I don't want to. This is one thing, and we're not trying to have an echo chamber here. That's why I say I want people to go ahead, stay on their mics. Don't be insulting the speakers and stuff like that. We're not making this into a trashy space right here. We're gonna keep it a buck up in here. People can go ahead and express themselves. So I don't want anybody dissing the speakers when they come up or anything like that. Let them speak. Let them go ahead and say what they want to go. As long as they're not disrespecting the people up in the space, I could care less. People are entitled to have their opinion. So, but I do want to hear what people got to say. And this whole Daniel Penny thing as well, to the fact that this joke was able to raise now they say over $2 million. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna touch up on both articles. One from CNN, the one about the Oprah or about the Color Purple, and the other one from Black Enterprise talking about Daniel Penny as well too. So yeah, man, y'all go ahead and tweet the space out. We try to let a few more of our people come in. I see we got a couple people on YouTube, a few people over there on YouTube right now. Or I should say a couple. But we're gonna go ahead and try to let a few more people come up in here before I actually go ahead and get it rolling because I want to hear, and it's definitely gonna be an interesting space tonight because I definitely want to hear what the ladies have to say on definitely on The Color Purple. When The Color Purple came out at the time, I was a little boy, so I didn't really understand the whole implications behind it and everything. But come to find out later on, there were a lot of black men who were not particularly fond of the actual movie and the depiction of black men in the movie as well too. It'll be interesting to see exactly what how everything's politically charged in today's time and everything that's going on with agendas and all of that. What's going to really be the actual the emphasis behind the story? Is it going to just pretty much stay with the actual the basis of the story? Is it going to add more things in it to try to appeal to today's crowd? Very, very interesting to see how this thing is going to play out, how it's going to be made. I'll be honest, I can't say that I'm going to actually watch the movie, but you know, I may go ahead and snake a peek. I watched the Woman's King, and I know a lot of our people was against the Woman's King. I felt the Woman's King wasn't a bad movie, whether you could believe all of it was actual factual or not. I didn't think the Woman King was a bad movie in terms of the way it was put together. You know, historically speaking, we know exactly what that kingdom took part in. So that doesn't negate, anything whatsoever. But yeah, man, I'm just interested to hear what people got to say about this professor as well, too, man. So I'm just and
yeah, great topic, bro. I'm glad that this is gonna be a topic for tonight. And but I think too, Total. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. all the people from this movie, they still alive, right? I think all the people from this movie are still here.
Well, not the one that played Mrs. Father. What's his name? Adolf Caesar. The one that played.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you may have a couple. You may have a couple people, but I think the main cast, the main stars, everybody that the big stars of the movie. Yeah, Oprah, of course, Whoopi Goldberg, Danny Glover still here, Harpo still here to my knowledge. So, pretty much Suge Avery, her character, I can't think of her real name. She's still here. So, but most of them are too old, to be actually in the actual movie. But all the major stars that we can really think of, for the most part, most of them are still here.
And that's pretty good, dude. Because considering some of the old classic black movies that we grew up with, a lot of these characters are gone on, man. Like Eddie Murphy's movie, what is that? Harlem Nights.
Harlem Nights, yeah.
Yeah, remember that one? And all the characters from that one, I think dead except Eddie Murphy. I
Except
think all of them.
Eddie and Arsenio Hall, yeah, like most of them, yeah.
Yes.
Red Fox is gone, Della Reese is gone, Richard Pryor is gone. Even though he had a very
Yeah.
small part in it, Robin Harris, he was in there. Eddie's brother Charlie Murphy had a real small role. He was in there. So yeah, a lot of the people that we know and stuff that was in there, the major stars are pretty much all gone. Even Danny Aiello, who played the crooked cop, he's dead as well too. So
Yeah, sure is. All of the folks dead, all the main characters, except Eddie Murphy and Arsenio.
well, y'all, let me go ahead and touch up on this real quick. I want to touch up on I'll touch up on Daniel Penny real quick. It's real short, and then I'll go ahead and speak up on the Color Purple from Black Enterprise. It's up in the Jumbotron as well too. It's titled "Fundraiser for Jordan Neely's Alleged Subway Murderer." Daniel Penny raises over $1.5 million. An online fundraiser for 24-year-old Daniel Penny has been raking in donations as of Sunday. A fundraiser for the former Marine charged with second-degree murder for allegedly killing 30-year-old Jordan Neely in New York City has exceeded 1.5 million in donations, according to Forbes. The fundraiser was hosted by Riser and Kenneth PC Law Firm, was launched on the crowdfunding website Give, Send, Go. Funds are being raised to pay Mr. Penny's legal fees incurred from any criminal charges filed and any future civil lawsuits that may arise, as well as expense related to his defense. The fundraiser's description read: as of Monday morning, the fundraiser totaled nearly $2 million in donation, with top donors sending in amounts from $1,000 to $20,000. According to the page, the remaining funds will be donated to a mental health advocacy program in New York City after covering Penny's legal fees. Camera footage caught Penny placing Neely in a chokehold for 15 minutes. The homeless Michael Jackson impersonator, whose family said he had mental illness, allegedly boarded the NYC subway train, making threats and claiming to be hungry. Neely was pronounced dead in the New York City office of chief medical examiner ruled the death a homicide. Penny was also released on a $100,000 bond after he surrendered to police and was charged with manslaughter on Friday. He is a hero, but he is a hero for coming forward to help, an anonymous donor wrote on the fundraiser's page, along with comments from other donors. Governor Ron DeSantis, Republican Florida, and other Republicans have publicly supported Penny, sharing the fundraiser on their social media pages. Well, I was talking about damn Ron DeSantis last night. A fundraiser on behalf of Neely has been launched by an aunt who identified herself as Carolyn Neely. Funds will cover federal costs, funeral costs for the late Michael Jackson impersonator, according to the GoFundMe. Neely has raised over $120,000 of donation from more than 3,000 supporters. Ain't that something? Now, this man who got choked out, got killed, his people, they were only able to garner $120,000, while this other dude already has raised over $2 million. Now, that just goes to show you the kind of world we're living in. Now, they're not only raising funds for his legal fees, but in case he gets hit with a civil lawsuit, he's gonna already have money in the bank to go ahead and pay that off as well too. So I'm gonna go ahead and touch up on the actual real quick. Let me go ahead and touch up on the actual Color Purple article as well too while we're here. That's also up in the Jumbotron. It's from CNN, curator Newstoter.com platform. Haley Bailey and Fantasia star in the first trailer for the new Color Purple movie. Haley Bailey and Fantasia made their official debut on Monday in the first trailer for the upcoming The Color Purple movie, a musical reboot of the 1985 classic based on the novel of the same name by Alice Walker. Dear Seeley, we have more than kings and queens, Bailey's young Nettie says in the trailer. We are at the center of the universe. The movie marks American Idol winner Fantasia's major motion picture debut. Fantasia stars as Celie, a character she played in the original Broadway show in 2007, which the reboot is cinematic rendering of. I'm just paraphrasing some of this article, guys. You can, like I say, it's up in the Jumbotron as well. The Broadway musical hit song I'm Here plays in the background of the trailer, which showcased the main cast, including Bailey, Fantasia, Taraji P. Henson, her, Corey Hawkins, and Danielle Brooks. Brooks is reprising her Tony nominated role as Sophia, whom she portrayed in the 2015 Broadway revival alongside Cynthia Erivo and Jennifer Hudson. Described as a bold new take on the beloved classic by Warner Brothers, The Color Purple reboot follows the lives and struggles of black women living in the South in the early 1900s. The 2023 movie is produced by Oprah Winfrey, who starred in the original Steven Spielberg directed film as Sophia and earned an Oscar nod for her performance. Spielberg is also tapped as a producer on the remake. In April, Winfrey appeared at CinemaCon in Las Vegas to debut a sneak peek of the film, telling the audience the 1985 film was the biggest and most important thing that happened to me. She added that it still holds great personal meaning. The Color Purple is expected in theaters on Christmas Day. The film is production of Warner Brothers Pictures, which, like CNN, is part of the Warner Brothers Discovery. Shout out to my boy, brother Moko. I just saw you just made it up in here as well too. Shout out to Rerod. Shout out to Wilson, Stephanie, Chisholm, a number of you coming up here. Charles. Shout out to all y'all coming up in the space as well too. I'm sure y'all heard, but we're covering the Color Purple movie tonight, and we're also covering Jordan Neely's murderer or alleged murderer, Mr. Daniel Penny, who's raised over $1.5 million. Actually raised, and this is an older article from last week. From my understanding, he's raised a little bit over $2 million as well too. So the money it's coming in, it's raking in. Shout out to my girl on YouTube as well. What's up, Diane? How you doing tonight, sister? Professor, go ahead. You got it. Anybody wants to speak as well too? Come on up here, share your hand. Go ahead and tweet the room out as well too. Go ahead and tweet the room out. We plan on having a pretty interesting space for as long as it lasts. So it's up to you guys. However you want to do it. You can talk about any topic that you want to talk about. That is the actual topic for the night, which once again is the Color Purple and Daniel Penny. So what's going on, Professor? And then we're gonna kick it to you, brother McCool.
Yeah, thank you, that Newstoter. Good to see you again, brother, as always. And brother Muko, good to see you up in here, man. Sister Rera right there. We've been debating in the back channel, me and Sister Rera, on some other stuff that's been going on in the world. So we've been kind of laughing on that. And then of course Sister Wilson, good to see you there. Good to see all the family up in here tonight. I'm going to mainly touch up on this Daniel Penny situation. I'm telling y'all, what a world we are living in, where people are out here supporting this guy who basically murdered a young man before our eyes. And this is showing you people we are back in these 1960s. This is where America is at right now. We have been pushed back to the 1950s, 1960s. And I hate to say it, but y'all, we're going to have to get ready to start going to battle daily. Like our people did back in the 50s and the 60s, man. They would be, everywhere they went, they were being hit, spat on, followed, you name it. It was all kinds of stuff they was having to deal with. And of course, Black Americans, we have always had to deal with these issues. But that's what this Daniel Penny case is showing, is that these folks want to take everything back to that time frame. They want to be able to do the things they want to do to us without any type of repercussions. And so we, as Black Americans, are going to have to stand on it. 10 toes on it. And I say fight. And I'm not talking about this laying down and kumbaya, we shall overcome type of stuff. No longer can we do that. And I think if Brother Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was here, he would tell us we can no longer do the just stand back and just let them hit on us. He would change that. I can tell you, he would change that. Now it comes down to you got to just stand up and you got to put it down the way it's got to be put down. So that's what this Daniel Penny case is teaching me, along with all the other cases that we see happening to our people. But this Daniel Penny case, y'all, is standing out to me because look at the amount of money that has been given to this man. Over $2 million, and it's going to get about $3 million from my understanding. So that tells you, y'all, these folks don't care about what happens to us. Jordan Neely was not threatening or hurting anybody on that subway. Taken out of here by this man, and you got white people clapping for him, saying that he deserved it. Yeah. Man didn't threaten anybody. He didn't touch Daniel Penny. He had his back turned. So why did Daniel Penny feel he had the right to get up on this brother and get him from the back and attack him from the back? Why? See, this is what I'm telling y'all. We are back in those times where they feel like they have the right to do whatever they want to. That's why this Daniel Penny case is so highlighted, because look at that money that has been given to support this no good ass lying creep that sit up there talking about that he didn't mean to do it. He was just trying to protect people. You weren't trying to protect anybody on there. Nobody on there was threatened. Nobody was on there was threatened. Jordan Needle was just saying he was hungry. But family, I want to hear what all you have to say. I just want to get the first T off on this. You know what I'm saying? Color purple, I'm not gonna worry about that. It's not my thing. I'm not worried about it. But family, I want to hear what y'all have to say. I'm gonna lay back and just hear everything and take everything in.
All right, Professor, appreciate that. Color purple might not be Professor thing, but if it's your thing, go ahead and speak on it as well too. So, like I said, we got two topics tonight. So we're doing Daniel Penny and the fundraiser, the millions that he's already raised, and we're also doing Color Purple because it's more than just a movie. It struck a chord with Black people damn near almost 40 years ago. To think about it now, when we think about it, some people consider it a classic amongst Black people. Some people don't like it whatsoever. They consider it trash. So I want to hear both.
I apologize, man. You're right, man. It did strike a chord with me too. So let me correct y'all on what I said earlier. It is important. Total is right. What stood out in this movie, so I'm going to say this one little thing about this movie. What stood out in this movie, because, they named it Color Purple, right? I remember now seeing Whoopi Goldberg's lips. They were purple, yeah. So now I think I know why they named this movie Color Purple. The lips were purple. The blue gum lips, you hear about that. Where her lips were purple lips. There you go. Yeah.
All right. Let me go ahead and get to Brother McCoo. Brother McCoo, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Professor funny as shit. But she did have with some dumbass purple lipstick. I seen that dumbass shit before. I would just say this, man. Color purple, that's a joke. I would say this, Fantasia playing the right part, right? Because she was illiterate for a while. No, it's too soon, right? For the ladies, I'm just joking. I ain't like Color Purple. I ain't like it as a movie. I ain't like how it depicted the powerless Black man as the white supremacist. It was made by a white movie producer, director. So, just like Dr. Clark always told us, you should always be leery of white men telling stories about Black people. That's one code that I have in my code that I'm always suspicious anytime I hear a story about a black person told by a white person. So with that being said, Daniel Penny, the murderer, Daniel Penny. Yeah, society is real weird and backwards today. I mean, we can't forget about Sensei Reed, our little 13-year-old brother that got killed by the murderer Butler, that they still didn't arrest. They have I guess a bullshit warrant out for his arrest, and he ain't arrested yet. So we got a homeless brother that's talking about he's hungry. That's a crime. We got a 13-year-old just being a 13-year-old. That's a crime. You know what I'm saying? People would always say it's, so-and-so while being black, but I'll say, being black while in white supremacy. We are guaranteed. We are guaranteed to get murdered, slain, hurt, and definitely the most unconstructive help that we need, that we don't need. In the system of white supremacy, it doesn't make me feel good to say that, but it is the honest truth, and the only way we're going to change it is by being honest. So Daniel Penny it's a real fucked up situation where the murderer gets more money, more support than the person that's murdered. I donated to Jordan Neely's fund. I'm gonna donate again, and I just implore everybody in the space to just try to do it, as many times as you can. I don't care if it's $1, $2. Do it like you do Newstoter. I mean, shit. That's all we can do. We all we got. You know what I'm saying? And I just hate that we, as a collective, wait for it to get to our door before we realize that shit, we all we got. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of us don't move until it's your cousin murdered on the subway, or until it's your aunt just shot in the head. You know what I'm saying? But and it's unfortunate. I'm guilty. I'm not outside of this. I'm guilty of the same shit. You feel what I'm saying? Which is why I'm putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? Let's no longer be a people that just wait for the shit to come to our door. And we hear it happening. I didn't know fucking Jordan, but that was my cousin. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at some point, we got to change the fucking narrative of this me and mine bullshit. And long as it ain't fucking with
Try not to do too much cursing, Brother McCool.
Yeah, my bad about the cursing. As long as he ain't messing with me or they not messing with mine, it's not no problem of mine. Like, we got to start realizing that we are a collective thing. You know what I'm saying? And we need to start treating it like that. You know what I'm saying? On a collective note, when something happened to your cousin across the way, look, our family tree is already messed up. We already don't know who our relatives are, and this is being done to us on purpose. So if it's already being done to us on purpose, wouldn't it make sense to treat everybody that look like you, well, everybody that's here that you know that look like you from your neck of the woods, from your care unit? Don't it just only make sense to be a help to someone that looks like you? You know what I'm saying? Especially when they're in need. So I don't know. I just land there. I know it's a little confusing situation, and it can get confusing, but this is white supremacy, and it's operating exactly the way it's supposed to be. I land there.
Brother McCool, let me give you a shout out real quick. Thank you for your contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead and get to Stephanie. Stephanie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having the space. Hello to everybody in the chat room. I have a question. Now, the thing with the Oprah Winfrey thing, I know it's too soon, but the thing with the Oprah Winfrey thing, right? Is it Cynthia Erivo in the movie or no?
No, I think she was on a Broadway play or something. I don't think she's in the actual movie.
Okay, good. All right, well, I'm gonna get back to that. But as far as the Daniel Penny thing is concerned, is there a way legally for them to freeze them assets that he should not be allowed to obtain anything from it? because he doesn't deserve anything. And right now, they're trying to demonize Jordan Penny's whole family. Okay, they putting articles out right now. There's an article out today I saw that his uncle was on the train and he got caught with a pocket knife. So they're trying to make it look as if the whole family had some type of issues with violence. And we're going to have to cut it off at the knees, because even if we have to start attacking these journalists and finding out something bad about them and just exposing them for their racism, because they're trying to automatically get this guy off the hook. And I think it's absolutely wrong. And let's not forget, Daniel Penny said in his statement that he was annoyed at the fact that this guy was begging. Okay? He made that statement. Don't let that statement disappear, because they're trying to clean it up. And he was a demon. He's a demon. Look in his face in the video when he was choking this man. This man was chewing gum. And he was focused on what he was doing. Don't let it die out. Don't let it die out. And I just wish that they could freeze those assets so he couldn't get one penny of that money. Because from what I understand, when George Floyd was killed, murdered, they raised $4 million for Derek Chauvin. This is from what I'm understanding. They raised $4 million for him. So we can't let this man, we cannot let him get away with this. And as far as Oprah Winfrey is concerned, I'm not going to support anything she does. And reason being is because she didn't have the Black community in mind when she created Oprah Winfrey Network in the first place. She distanced herself away from the Black community a long time ago. The last straw was when they tried to throw Kobe Bryant under the bus after his death. And it backfired on them, and they saw how the backlash that they got from the Black community. Then they ran to the white community so that the white community can defend them from the people that was attacking those two, her and Gail. So I don't have any sympathy or any love for Oprah Winfrey. She doesn't even 100% own her own company. She's only 60% owned. So I'm not going to be supporting anything she does, and I'm not going to be watching anything, none of her channels or anything like that. So she's dead on those issues. Until she reinvent herself or be the way she was before she became this Oprah Winfrey, I'm not supporting anything she doesn't. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, DJ. Thank you for your donation on Venmo. I see you hitting the Venmo up now lately. So, real quick, Stephanie, I don't know if they can freeze it now. I know you have like with GoFundMe, they don't allow people now. If you're charged with murder or a serious crime, they don't allow you to crowdfund for basically for the defense for yourself. Now, after Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty of killing those people, then they allowed Kyle Rittenhouse to go on GoFundMe and to go ahead and crowdfund. And I think he got a couple $100,000, whatever he was able to go ahead and fund for his legal defense and stuff like that. But I guess on GoFundMe, they won't allow it. But this other website, Give, Send, Go, apparently they're allowing it. They're letting you go ahead and do it. So I don't know if there's any way that you could legally freeze the money. Because you have a platform that's allowing you to do it. So I don't know if there's any way you can legally freeze it and stop them from actually doing it. You made another valid point about Oprah owning but I thought didn't she sell OWN as well too? I thought she sold it.
A portion of it, I think.
No.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just thought she sold it. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, she sold a portion of it, and but I'm like the sister Stephanie, man. I could care less about Oprah Winfrey because she sold us out years ago.
Oh yeah, now I don't disagree with that. I mean, Oprah at one time, for those that can remember, now, like I said, I was a real young kid, whatever. When she first came out, her platform was one way, and then she kind of went ahead and switched it to go ahead and get mainstream appeal. She kind of, I guess you could say, she left her roots to go ahead and try to appeal to mainstream America, and it paid off for her. It worked for her as well too. Professor, I know you had your hand up after Stephanie. Did you want to add something too?
Yeah, I was going to say to you, Sister Stephanie, and Total already touched on it. Of course, is with the GoFundMe, it's based on the policy of the site, and of course, GoFundMe had recently changed their policy, where if you have been charged with murder or some type of crime, they would pull that money back and they would seize it. This site here, this Give, Send, Go, something tells me it's a white supremacy site. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that's what that is. So they're gonna go ahead and tolerate it, and they're gonna roll with it. They're gonna let this man get all that money. I think it's just about close to $3 million, y'all. As a matter of fact, it's sitting at 2.6 million. So that tells you that these white supremacists are doing all they can to help this brother get off. Excuse me for calling him brother, because that's not what he is. But to get this white supremacist off. And I tell you, it's just very heartbreaking that Jordan Neely had to pay with his life, and nobody's trying to send all that money for his situation to his family. But yes, it's 2.6 million, y'all. I just looked at it, so it's really just, oh my God, the country is going back in time, y'all. It's just, I hate to even look at it.
And Stephanie, I know you had your hand up. And real quick, Stephanie, before I get to you, I know Brooke, shout out to Brooke. She's on YouTube. She was saying that a federal judge could freeze the funds. I guess if you had a federal judge, that's possible. I don't really know the legal ramifications, so I would definitely have to check with somebody in the legal field to actually say that. But Brooks, she says they could seize the fund or freeze the funds. And Diane said that she feels like they're pretty much trying to taint this jury with Daniel Penny as well too. So Stephanie, go ahead, you got it.
Okay, no, I just wanted to say that Give, Send, Go is a white supremacist go version of GoFundMe. They're very ultra conservative, outright. They have that type of thing to it, because they did an article on them last year. So because they was trying to raise funds for I want to say Kyle Rittenhouse. They wanted to raise funds for him, but they was kind of like small around that time. But now that it has gotten more popular and underground amongst the white supremacists, now it's gotten traction and got grown feet, and it's taken off. So with this website now, that I guess this is where they at right now. So a lot of them are going to be using this, but I think that Alvin Bragg should be able to do something if he goes to a prosecutor. I mean, goes to the court and petition for it to be his assets to be frozen.
One thing I found interesting, if anybody was in here when I was reading that article from Black Enterprise, that it also talked about Ron DeSantis, of course, the governor of Florida, and other Republicans have publicly supported Penny, and they were even sharing the fundraiser on their social media pages. So when we talk about the power of these people in politics and stuff like that, and you're right, that platform, if it's like that, and you got people like Ron DeSantis and other Republicans sitting out there sharing the actual social media pages, it pretty much lets you know exactly what that site stands at as well too. So that's not surprising that Ron DeSantis would go ahead and share that as well either. So that doesn't surprise me in the least bit either. So Vovo, go ahead. How you doing tonight? Go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right. How you feel, my brother?
I'm doing pretty good. Let me get you a little bit louder if we can, Vovo. I can hear you, but let's see if we get you a little louder.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, he gonna keep that money. I wouldn't be surprised if he take a sweetheart deal, go to jail, and get out and just be a millionaire. Do like 3-4 years, get out, and then just be a millionaire and just keep the money. You know what I mean? Like, there's really no way around this. Like, he's caught on camera doing what he did. So if it was me, I would be trying to get out of this as fast as possible so I can just collect that money and go on about my life. And that's what I think they're gonna do with him. You know, he already got a bullshit charge. That was a murder. So they're giving him a manslaughter. They're gonna try to give him a slap on the wrist. He's gonna take the money. You know, his lawyer's gonna put him in position, and then just get out the way. I've said this about Rittenhouse.
I said Rittenhouse gonna be a rock star. I did a video talking about that. And look at Rittenhouse put on the whole tour. He had a WWF brought them out, how they bring out the wrestlers with all types of screens behind them and flashing lights and all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be the same thing with this Daniel Penny guy. You know what I mean? It just ain't no way to get off like Rittenhouse got off. You know, they was actually chasing after Rittenhouse. He snuck up behind this guy and did that. You know what I mean? So I see him getting a sweetheart deal, collecting the money, going on about his life, probably write a book, all types of shit. You know what I mean? And this goes to show that these people really are desperate. They funding that. Like, you know what I mean? I land my plane, brother.
All right, appreciate it, Vovo. Did you want to add anything to the Color Purple movie?
Oh yeah, I was going back and forth with a guy earlier, one of our brothers. He was saying like this gonna be the Boogeyman movie or something like the black. They trying to make another black man Boogeyman movie or make the black man the villain. I'm like, man, just like sometimes y'all we got to come out of these bubbles that we in. You know, everything ain't about attacking us. You know what I'm saying? Like Color Purple was a good movie. I grew up watching that. You know what I mean? I'm interested in what they're gonna do with this remake. You know what I mean? It looked fire to me. I don't know about nobody else, but it shit look good to me. You know what I mean? I just hope they do a good job on it. You know what I mean? And make us proud, man. That's a part of our culture.
All right, appreciate that, Vovo. Up in the jumbotron, guys. The where is that at? The fourth on the left hand side, we got the YouTube channel up in there. Please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel while the actual space is on. If you've already subscribed, go ahead and click up there and just retweet out the actual space, retweet the actual link to the actual YouTube channel out. So if you've already subscribed, go ahead and just retweet that out. If you haven't, go over to YouTube while the space is actually going on and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's see if we can get us a couple subscriptions tonight in here while the space is actually going on. But those that can support us, please think about making a donation on Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned, Black American news media curation platform today in America. And once again, that is $Newstoter, $Newstoter. For those that do not have a Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. And for those on YouTube, the links are up in the description. Let me go ahead and get back to Stephanie. Anybody else that wants to speak tonight, please go ahead and just raise your hand and we will go ahead and get to you. Go ahead, Stephanie, you got it.
I got one more thing to say, and that's it. I think they can go after him in a civil lawsuit. I think that's what they can do. I'm gonna keep looking into it.
Thank you. And that's another thing that the article mentioned, that he's for his legal fees and everything else, but they also trying to stockpile some money for future civil lawsuits as well too. So that's another thing that they're thinking about as well too, that hey, even if we get off and we win in the court of law, we still have to worry about the potential of a civil lawsuit. So that's another thing. They're going to probably put that money in some kind of escrow account or whatever, and whenever he needs it, if he does get hit with a civil suit, then he'll have some funds on hand as well too. So let's go ahead and get to Detroit. Detroit, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Well, thanks a lot, Newstoter. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, about the movie, The Color Purple. I haven't seen any previews, but I already know it's going to be some bull crap. And they are always thinking about us. It is always about us. They can't help but think about us and make stuff about us in a negative way all the time. I remember Minister Farrakhan broke down The Color Purple decades ago. The first one was a horrible movie. I know this one is going to be more horrible than the first one. I haven't seen it, haven't seen the previews, but I know they get down. A movie about a black man who was raised, Danny Glover's character, he was a dog. His father was a dog. He was raising his son to be a dog. The only time here you got Oprah Winfrey, her character, out there fighting while the Lawrence Fishburne character over there huddled up with the kids. And then they broke Oprah's character to let her know, you black woman, if you try to stand up and be brave, we'll break you too. And they did break her, and she still wound up being a white lady's maid. The only time those men in that movie showed any type of courage or came together was when the white woman was in trouble, when she couldn't drive. And all the black men all of a sudden wanted to work together to save her. They had to save her because if anything would have happened to the white lady, all of them would have got blamed. So that's just a small taste of that movie. It was garbage, and the new one's going to be garbage. As far as Danny Penny, whatever, white supremacists doing what white supremacists do. I really don't have much to say on it because it's real irritating. Everybody, not you all, but just everybody's acting like this is a surprise. Like we know how they do. They're gonna give this dude money. Like my man said, they're gonna make him a rock star. He's gonna go on a tour. He's gonna be on game shows, trying to get a wife, and whatever kind of nonsense they do. He's gonna be posing, probably doing underwear commercials, whatever it is they do. That's what white people do. Thanks, Newstoter.
All right, appreciate that, Detroit. Let me give a shout out to Volvo too. Volvo, thank you for your contribution on Cash App. They pretty much already trying to make him a star because you got a bunch of people in the media and stuff sitting up here saying that hey, that he was a hero and he did what he had to do, and so I'm already now. I know Volvo, you're saying that if you was him, you would take the actual plea or whatever, but I don't think I think that people advising him, his legal team, and telling him, hey man, you got a good chance of beating this right here because you're already going to have, when you look at that actual footage, they're going to say, well, you weren't alone in your actions. Look at the other people that came over there that was assisting you and trying to hold him down as well, too, and hold his arms. Like, so you just did what that came natural. You were trying to protect yourself and other people on the subway. And not only that, but look at the other men that came in to step in to help you. So I think that realistically, his legal team probably telling him, hey, man, you got a realistic shot of beating this right here. He's charged with manslaughter. So it's not like he's charged with first-degree murder, even second-degree. He's charged with manslaughter. So I think realistically, the legal representation that he's getting right now, and not only that, but a good part of the actual media is sitting up here and justifying what he did. I think that he'd be crazy to go ahead and take. Now, that's not to say he may not get convicted, but at this point in time, I think if you took a poll with the nation or whatever, most of them, especially if you got most white people to go ahead and actually put their real feelings into one of these polls, most of them would think, I think you'd be split with white people that say you probably would get maybe half of white people say, he was wrong for what he did, and the other half would say, well, hey, he was justified. So, and I may be slightly off on those on that assertion right there. You may have more than half of white people saying, well, hey, he did the right thing. So I don't think that he's going to take no plea deal. I don't think, even with the money that's in there, I think that dude's going to have more than enough. Like Professor said, he's close to $3 million. He'll have more than enough to defend himself with his legal team. He'll have more than enough to go ahead and in case a civil suit come and pay that. And he'll have more than enough to have in his damn pocket where he may even have to work again. And not only that, then he can write him a book, start doing tours, speaking engagements, and this and that or whatever. This joker may never hold another damn regular job a day in his life at the age of 24 right now. Volvo, I know you had your hand up. Detroit, I'm going to get back to you as well. So go ahead, Volvo.
Yeah, I was going to say the manslaughter charge, it's a lot less, what I want to say, it's a lot easier to prove, than a murder. The burden of proof is not as high. All they got to prove is that you caused the man's death. Not without any ill will. You wasn't trying to kill him, but you still caused his death. Well, we got video that's undeniable. He caused the man death. With no overdose, with none of that weird shit they talking about. He caused the man death. That's what manslaughter is. It is you didn't have any ill will. You didn't have any hatred in trying to kill him, but you did cause the death. So I really can't see him beating it. You know what I mean? If just being reasonable, if they already gave him a manslaughter charge, you get probation on the manslaughter. I'm not sure what the New York thing is, but you can get probation on the manslaughter charge. Let me ask you this: you being a reasonable man, you got $3 million on the table, and they say we'll give you 2 years and you can go about your business, and you on camera doing that. Would you take 2 years?
I would have to think about it. I mean, like you said, they talk about 2 years, and then they probably put him in. I'm not gonna say he'll be in the cushiest of prisons, anything like that, but $2 million, and You talk about 3 million. I mean, 3 million in only 2 years. I would have to seriously think about that.
What is the thing though with that, right? Like I've been in jail before. Somebody like him walk in jail, it's gonna automatically be cushy as it can get for jail. He gonna be a hero in there. The white supremacist, he gonna be like a shot caller in there. You know what I mean? The white supremacist gonna go right to. He gonna be untouchable. He gonna be a rock star in jail. So he gonna have an easy bit. He gonna have a cell phone. He gonna be eating outside food, everything. He might hit a guard, anything. Like he gonna have his way in jail. So like I mean, if it's me, you know what I mean, I'm gonna be looking for the first exit of either to get this behind me and to take the money. I'm just saying, like, just being a reasonable man, like I'm gonna be looking for the most easiest way out. They got me on camera, but I got this $3 million waiting on me. So if it was me, you know, that's just how I see it going. I don't know, you know, what the situation.
Remember though, Volvo, it only takes one person to get a hung jury as well too. And I know they can still retry you after that, but you know, how hard would it really be to get one person in that jury to say, you know what? You may have people saying, well, he's guilty, this and that, or whatever. But how hard would it really be to get a hung jury at this point in time? Because I'm pretty sure you got enough people up there in New York, you'll have somebody that'll step up there and say, well, you know, I don't think he did it or whatever. And just like that, you got a hung jury. So I wouldn't be totally surprised. Like I said, that what you put out there on the table, when you think about it, hey, I can understand what you're saying. 3 million, possibly two. Now, if they talk about giving this dude 2 years, though, I mean, you're really gonna have some pissed off people. But let's say he did get 2 years. Let's say they gave him 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's still, and like you said, he goes in there. The Aryan Brotherhood gonna go ahead. He'll be protected by them. I'm sure he'll be protected by guards and everything. Hell, they may even put him in like a special little unit where he can't be touched or whatever. So
let me say this. Remember the lady that the police officer that she was like taser, but she had her gun and she shot the young boy.
yeah.
Yeah, she didn't even do a year, and she went to trial. She didn't even do a year. So I don't know. I just see this going like he just taking that money and he getting out of there. Like that's would be the most reasonable thing to do. What are you like? I mean, if they offer you a little bit of time, you're gonna risk going to trial and getting a full sentence, 15 years. It wouldn't even be worth it. It wouldn't even make sense. I don't know. That's just how I'm thinking. Appreciate you though, bro.
No, you make sense though, and I understand where you're coming from as well too. Like, hey, if they talking about giving you something, and we know you already got money in the bank. Like that's already a given. It's not like saying, well, yeah, you may potentially get millions. You already got the millions. You go ahead and you pay your people and this and that or whatever. So I definitely understand what you're saying on that. And like I said, that's a decision that you would have to sleep on. You know, you just have to go ahead. I'm still of the personal belief that hey, it ain't gonna be that easy to get a conviction on him as well. So we gotta look at where we at and look at the system and this and that or whatever. You're right with the manslaughter, it's a lot easier than first degree. So you know that hey, but at the same time, like I say, it only takes one person to sit up there and say, well, you know, I don't think he didn't intentionally do that. He didn't do that or whatever. So it just I don't know. I mean, but you making a point that's kind of hard to really go against as well too. When you got that actual money and like Professor said, he's gonna hit 3 million before it's probably all said and done. He's gonna hit that $3 million mark. So then, like I said, you got the book deal and you got touring and you got this and that or whatever. So his people know how to go ahead and take care of him for the rest of his life as well. So let me go ahead and go to Detroit. Detroit, go ahead. You got to unmute your mic.
Thanks again, Newstoter. See, yeah, I agree with that. Also, you know, we all know that they have two justice systems, one for black people and one for white people. That's no secret. But as far as like Daniel Penny getting his money, this is just my speculation too, that this is, you know, I mean, I don't have proof of this. I'm just saying this is what I believe. Because a lot of the celebrities or whoever are promoting this dude or making it public that they're giving him money, but I'm wondering what they're giving him behind closed doors. And I pointed out thinking about Chris Rock. I mean, not Chris Rock, Kid Rock. I'm from Detroit. Kid Rock is supposedly from Detroit. Back in the day, okay, he used to date my best friend's cousin. black chick. And we used to make fun of Kid Rock and laugh at him because of his name. You know, everybody had cool names, but we thought that was a real white boyish name, Kid Rock. And we used to laugh at him and talk about how his name was stupid and how he was never going to make it. We used to say he ain't going to never be famous, he ain't going to never make it. But I guess he showed us. But we used to clown his ass. Because I guess back in the day, he used to have them like, you know how white boys have dreadlocks, but they're like camel fur? He used to have like them dusty dreads or whatever. And he used to date my boy cousin, and he used to beat her ass and call her nigga and all this other stuff and slap her around. But she was a Bedouin, so she'd just run back to him and, you know, forgive him and all of this other stuff. So I never liked Kid Rock on that basis. But my point is, anytime if he supports something, I don't like it anyway because he supported it. If he supported it, then it can't be good. And when I look at celebrities supporting this Daniel Penny guy, I'm thinking, like we all heard, I don't know if it's in Tariq's space, whatever, their heroes are always somebody that harms black people. And when celebrities are doing that kind of stuff and passing it around, and one celebrity gave him some money, the other Indian guy gave him some money, and it's anti-black stuff, it just goes to further show that y'all don't like black people. And when y'all doing this publicly, I guess what I'm trying to get to, I'm all over the place because I'm outside, I do something. They're really doing this publicly, but I wonder what they're doing privately to take care of this guy. And like Bobo said, he's going to always be taken care of for the rest of his life. I don't care what happens. This dude is not going to spend much time in jail. If he spends time in jail at all, he's going to always be a hero. They're going to probably build a monument to this guy one day. And I really can't get my thoughts together because I'm trying to do something outside. But I said what I wanted to say for the most part. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate that, Detroit. Professor, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, to Bobo's point, you know, because I know he mentioned that cop, Kim Potter, I think was her name, that just got out.
That's her.
I think that's her? Okay. Yeah, I think she did serve at least close to 2 years, but she still needed more time, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I think she was supposed to serve, was it 2 years? But I think she may have served, about 13, 14 months or something. We did a space on her.
14 months. Yeah, she got 13, 14 months, and then, of course, they let her out. She deserved more time, no doubt about that. But I want y'all to pay attention to something when she got out of there. Look at the picture of her when she went in, and look at that picture of her now. That tells me that woman been seeing some ghosts. Okay, she been seeing that ghost of that brother that she killed. Cause look at her now, y'all. She look dead coming up out of there. But anyway, I digress. So with this whole thing with brother D.A. Alvin Bragg, y'all, this is what I'm gonna tell y'all. He made the decision for the charge of the manslaughter because on the audio tape, there was people saying to Daniel Penny, you may end up killing him. You need to let him go. That's an easy charge right there for this. Because of the audio, they was able to get that audio in there. That's why he decided to make the charge. Because at first, he was going to convene a grand jury. But because somebody brought to him the audio of people saying, let him go, it was then, hey, now I got something to go on where I can make a charge on my own, and it's more of a runnable case that I can get justice for Jordan Neal. I'm like most of you black family, I would love to see the murder charge, but the problem with a murder charge is you can't really get into the mind of a person. Even though we look at Daniel Penny on this video, right? He looks like a demon on the video, but what is going on in his mind? See, that's what the thing is about murder charges. Is can you get inside the mindset to see if somebody was planning to kill somebody? That's the problem. Can you prove Daniel Penny was planning to kill him? And you can't. But the manslaughter charge is an easier charge to prove because you got people on the audio tape saying you might kill him if you don't let him go. So, brother D.A. Alvin Bragg, I salute you because you did at least make the charge on your own instead of doing what a lot of these DAs try to do which is just go through a grand jury. And remember, y'all, these white supremacists are attacking our brother LBA DA Alvin Bragg too, because remember, he went after Trump. So remember, that's what we got going on here. There's two things going on here, everybody. DA Alvin Bragg got Trump hung up in the jury in the justice system, and then he got this Daniel Penny hung up in the justice system. And Alvin Bragg, of course, is what? He's an LPA. He's a black man in America like us. He's black. And these white supremacists don't like it. So, hey, they're going to take these L's. Damn it. But anyway, I digress, family. I just want to get that in there. I want to hear what everybody got to say. I'm going to land on that.
All right, Professor, you made some valid points, like Volvo did too, about the actual manslaughter in Detroit as well too. It's an easier charge to go ahead and get a conviction on. Like I say, even with the easier charges, I'm at this point in time where I have to see it to believe it. So I still, even though that's much easier to go ahead and convict him on, I still got to see it to believe it, because, like I said, he's got a whole lot of support out here in the real world as well too. So I want to actually go ahead and see how this thing is going to really play out. Shout out to we got a new subscriber on YouTube, so shout out to whoever went ahead and subscribed. Thank you. Let's see if we can get some more subscribers before the actual space ends tonight as well too. So that's up there in the jumbotron on the fourth on the left hand side, guys. The fourth on the left hand side. Please make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So we got you up here, Sister Sean. I'm gonna get to you, Brother Muku. So, Sister Sean, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I just wanted to on the Daniel Penny thing, just to follow up, and these are just my own personal thoughts. The intent. I think the brother was like, okay, it's very, very difficult to figure out what's going on in the mind, whether it was intentional or not. Yeah, I think on normal circumstances, but I think intent would be, if they're crafty based on what I'm looking at, it was intentional. And the reason why I can say it's intentional is because you're a trained Marine. So you're wearing that Marine title as a badge of honor. So honor that badge. And I've listened to other Marines, and they're trained in their training that chokehold is not supposed to be held for no more than 60 seconds. It's just to detain and retain. This man did this, from my understanding, up to 15 minutes. So the fact that you used a military tactic that you're professionally trained in, that you're using as a badge of honor, that this is who you are, and if that is who you are, then you know better. And because you know better, it's intentional, right? Another thing about it is that I just can't get past the fact that not only did you do this, you attacked somebody from behind. It wasn't even a face-to-face combat at all. That was just an ambush, right? So all that to me is intentional. Then the highlighting of this man's a number of arrests. So me even looking at that, a 40 arrests, they pulled up some other stuff. I'm not condoning it, but here's what I will say: when you're a homeless person, that 40 arrests didn't really faze me, because they get arrested quite frequently, urinating in public, loitering. They're they roam the city. They roam the streets all day, every day. And they can get them trespassing. It's very, very easy. 40 arrests isn't a lot for a homeless person. So I just wanted to keep that in mind. And I don't know what's going on. Something came out with the uncle. The uncle was busted for all of these other things. But that's totally irrelevant. That doesn't have anything to do with this man dying. Okay, Color Purple. We need to be... we don't need any more struggle films. I just know I don't need to see another. I don't need a Color Purple 2.0. Color Purple is nothing but, I don't know if you guys feel like that, but there's a whole entire wave, and there's a message against like black men, hostile men. And I'm not for that. So to give me another struggle film and a 2.0 of a Color Purple, which is not going to do nothing but demonize the black man even further. We need to boycott it. And now they're trying to throw some Pan-African stuff into it. That's just like Wakanda 2.0. I don't think we should watch it. We don't need any more of the filth. We don't need any more of the junk. So I want to also pay attention. Something's going down this Thursday. Speaking of Pan-Africans, they're up there trying to do some stuff against our reparations. There's some sort of Eventbrite Zoom meeting. The flyer is somewhere out there. Can't remember the lady's name, but I know Ray Winbush is there. The flyer is circulating. I think Tariq has circulated the flyer. So people need to be on that Zoom and tell these people to just really back up off our bumper and stay out of our business. They don't have anything to do with what's going on here in the United States of America. It's a shame. It's hostile, and they need to stop it. Now, land right there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Newstoter. I'm sorry. Where's that going to be at, Sister Shine?
It's a flyer. I just got wind of it. I think it's on Tariq's Twitter. It's a Zoom. It's a Zoom meeting. I don't know. It's just, I think he's got the flyer. Somebody's got that flyer out there somewhere. If I can find it, I'll put it on my page. I wish I had the name of the organization. Let me come back on stage. Let me do some research. I'll come back. Go ahead, Newstoter. Let me just do some research. I'll come back.
All right. Thank you, Sister Sean. Let me go ahead and get to Brother Muku. Brother Muku, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, like as far as like our master and the art of not thinking when it comes to this Daniel Penny. It seems like we always have to, like, why can't it? It's always flat out murder if a black person does any small little thing. Why do we have a problem with just calling it what it is? You know what I'm saying? It's always we got to get into the mind of, the killer. We don't know what he was thinking. He had a mental impairment, or this guy. Sister said something earlier that was really key point. He kind of incriminated himself. He said that I was irritated by what was said. You know what I'm saying? Like, the point of him even being irritated and putting your hands on someone because of irritation, that it should have started at manslaughter. When you put your hands on him, because you're a suspected. Well, we know you're a white supremacist, and he's a black man, so this should be assault as soon as you put your hands on him, and then upward. Like the charge shouldn't be like starting at assault and then it's manslaughter or starting at manslaughter. It should escalate it from manslaughter as soon as he got down on the ground and for the first second of choking him. You know what I'm saying? Like all that time, like, and it's not murder. Like, so now I'm asking the question, like, so how long does is it a specific time? Like, you kill a person. You've hurt a person right before they stop breathing. You stop fucking with them, so it's not murder then, or like it's crazy. Like it's crazy how so many excuses is coming up along with this manslaughter charge. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just the Marine thing, because we've had, come on, let's face it, we had Marines convicted serial killers. You know what I'm saying? And shit. I know 3 right off the bat from the Navy, from South Carolina, that fucking raped the stripper and mutilated her. And they was actually off the ship that I got stationed to the first time I went down there. So I don't know. It's crazy how when you get these murders done by white people, period. It doesn't matter whether it's military or not. It's like they just go, so they call it so many other things other than what it is. I landed.
All right. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to Volvo and anybody else that wants to speak tonight. I'm surprised we got more people coming up requesting to speak tonight, but anybody else that wants to speak, come on up here and raise your hand and come on up here, request to speak, and we'll go ahead and let you go. Volvo, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, I just want to say,
far as the color purple thing, I like the color purple. Me and my sister still talk about it all the time. That's one of her favorite movies. I felt as though all of them did a great job on that movie. I also like it for the what word I'm looking for, the cinematic value of it. I feel like they did a good job of catching the time. You know what I mean? The catching it. It's a period piece, and I feel as though they did a good job. I liked the church scene. I liked it, the juke joint scene. I liked it when they got dressed up. All that shit was, I feel as though they did a good job in catching just catching the time period. You know what I mean? A lot of that shit was going on. You know what I mean? We can't run from it. You know what I mean? It was a lot of shit. It was racism in the South. You know what I mean? That's what it looked like. You know what I mean? So I feel as though they did a good job. It's a story. You know what I mean? It was a book at first. You know what I mean? I used to read a lot of books in my 20s. You know what I mean? And shit, I wish they would make some of them into books. And shit, a lot of y'all ain't gonna like that. The type of books I'm into. Like Donald Goins and you know what I mean? Iceberg Slim. That's my favorite book. I wish they would make that a book. The Iceberg Slim story. I wish they would make that a movie. You know what I mean? Everybody gonna be mad at that. Then if you're mad at the color purple, he was talking about pimping hoes and everything. I can't wait for that movie to come out. I got a couple dollars on that to come out. Everything ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we gotta really realize though. Everything ain't for everybody. I don't watch sci-fi alien shit. I'm just not into it. You know what I'm saying? Like that ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? Like everything ain't for everybody. You might not have liked the subject matter of it, but that still don't mean that it wasn't a good movie though. Everybody did a great job. They had some hitters in there, some heavy hitters. Danny Glover, Lawrence Fishburne, Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah Winfrey. Everybody got their flaws. You might not like them for something they did outside the ring, but when they got in the ring, they were some hitters. You know what I mean? They was hitting. That was a good ass movie, and I just hope that they don't make a bullshit remake. You know what I mean? I appreciate you letting me speak, brother.
All right.
No, let me tell you something, Deuce. Let me just tell you what I'm saying. I'm not discrediting the quality and talent that was portrayed in that movie, The Color Purple. But I was really speaking to the messaging, and then of all of the accolades, think back and go back, all the wonderful accolades that you just displayed. That movie was up for, I believe, at least 12 Academy Awards in multiple categories. And still, this white man's award system, Oprah Winfrey and The Color Purple didn't receive one award. Go back. They didn't receive any awards.
Well, let me say this, sis. I'm not that type of guy. I look at it. They got my award. I enjoyed it.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not really. I feel as though.
No. I just wanted to
getting certified by them. That don't, you bringing that up. That don't mean that's a. I promise you, it don't.
Yeah. But I'm not going against the cinematic, artistic quality of it all and stuff. But I was just looking at the messaging. I'm just not looking at the juke joint scene and the church scene. Yeah, it's all good. But I think right now there's just overall messaging in our society, right? And I just don't feel like we need another struggle movie. I don't need another movie showing, the black man being the villain. And that's just how I feel.
So what you want to see? You want everything to be all the same movie? It ain't no point in that.
No, everything's not going to be the same movie, but there's a constant message. That's what I'm saying. The messaging of the overall themes, the messaging, movies, TV series. I don't know if you've noticed it, but there's some mainstream messaging, and it's usually LBGT, and it's hating black men. And I know I'm not the only one that sees this. So that's all.
Like y'all reacting, y'all. Sometimes we gotta come out these bubbles, man. That was a book first. You know what I'm saying? Even before that was a book years ago first.
And it was put down years ago. All I'm saying is that we had our first round. We don't need a 2.0. We don't need a struggle movie. I would rather see a liberation movie. That's all I'm saying.
We got a million liberation movies. That's actually a liberation movie. She got free from her oppressor.
And who
That's
was her
actually
president? Who was her
Danny Glover.
A black man. That's my point. Her
All right,
president was a
like
black man.
like
See, that's
what
the
do you
point.
mean?
Always portraying the black man in a negative light. That's not the real oppressor. That's
Listen to
what
what I'm saying, huh?
the oppressor is.
Is we gonna act like this subject matter don't exist?
You actually answered the question. You actually validated that.
It ain't for you though. That's what I'm saying. Like it ain't for you. They ain't about to go out of business because you don't want to see it.
No, of course not. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, are we gonna act like that? That's not a real story. Like that.
Don't get offended.
I'm not offended. I'm not offended at all.
No, but your voice is raising a few octave levels. Come on now.
Yours was no. We ain't gonna. You ain't gonna put me in no thing like that.
Voice, brother.
You ain't gonna. Nah.
Hey, real quick, everybody. I'll let you two go ahead and have a conversation with one person at a time. Let's not speak over the person. Let's not come off the mic. One person speak. Sister Sean, you can go ahead and speak, and then Volvo, you can go ahead and respond as well too.
I'm actually done. I was just trying to kind of follow up on what he said, and that's just my personal feeling. No disrespect to his feeling, but I love the way he just answered the question. Who was the oppressor? His answer was Danny Glover. That was my point. Why is it a black man being portrayed as the oppressor when that's not the true oppressor? That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Have a nice evening. I'll come back with that flyer once I find it.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead, Volvo.
Let me say this, right? We know who the oppressor is. When I said it's a liberation movie, she freed herself. She got free. It's an inspiring story. You know what I mean? Like she are we gonna act like Mister ain't real? I don't know where y'all from, but I know one or two Mister that go upside their woman head and she be right back with them. Like we gonna act like this stuff ain't real? Everything can't be all the same movie. Who wanna see the same shit over and over and over? You know what I mean? Like it's a good story. You know what I mean? Like I just don't know. I feel as though they shining light on these new actors. I want to see what Fantasia do with this role, because Whoopi knocked it out the park. So I want to see what Fantasia. Have Fantasia ever acted in anything? I'm not sure. I ain't never seen her in nothing. You know what I mean? I want to see what these new actors gonna do. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I just want to see.
All right, appreciate it, Volvo. Let me go ahead and get to our brother McCoo. Brother McCoo, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Volvo said something interesting. He was like, "It's fun, you know. That's what white supremacy breeds. Fun is in, destruction. Fun is in. I mean, now if I remember correctly, this movie started with a raping of a little black girl, and that's fun. Yeah, that's fun. This is a good movie. You know what I'm saying? The actors did great. Yeah, this. I would have rather this story stayed a book. Reading is more important than watching television, because when you watch television and you see shit like this, it starts to become fun. I think we need to change our value system of what fun is. It never made sense to me that you can have fun in a prison. So we're in a system of white supremacy. So everything that's put in front of my face is designed not for my betterment, it's for my detriment. And the evidence shows that, because even though you got some actors playing this role in a movie that started with a raping of a black girl, by the way, you know what I'm saying, which was described to me, I heard a few people describe it as horrible. I heard my man Volvo say it was fun watching. I heard it was cinematic value in this. All types of weird ass descriptions of some shit that's horrible. I would never want to see any of my four daughters depicted in this movie role, playing it, being in it. It doesn't look like fun to be raped, or even acting like I was raped. Yeah, that's real disgusting. So I think if anything we learn from this, is change what we value and what we look at as fun and entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Not just fun, but entertainment.
Volvo.
Yeah, go ahead, Volvo.
Hold on. Let him finish, Volvo, and then you can go ahead and go ahead. Go ahead and let him. You finish, brother McCool.
Yeah, he said, let me go ahead, though. Hold on. That's in context, brother, because my name on here. And my name and my real face, I'm on here talking that. I ain't got no picture of none of that. When you say rape and fun and Volvo all in the same sentence, please just keep it all in context, because there's a lot of trolls up here.
I think I did, bro. I think I did. I was just saying, hearing those words describing this movie that started with a raping. I ain't say Volvo like rapes. I ain't say that.
But in what context did I say that this was fun?
Entertainment. Watch it.
Okay, all right.
Well, did you not? I said that.
Yeah, I said it was
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I said we had to take for fun.
Right. All right, I said
fun.
that.
Ain't nothing about rape fun and like I'm enjoying the girl getting raped.
It ain't, bro. It ain't. But you said it has sentimental value too. That's not value. Okay, not to me. Your opinion. Not just how I'm sharing.
Well, I'm just saying, you gotta tell the story, brother. These is, I know the subject matter might be tough, but you know, we've seen a lot of slave movies. We've seen a lot of Titanic. The guy froze to death. That you know what I mean? Like what are we? You know what I mean? Like when we reenact these stories, they're telling stories. They're reenacting a story. Like, I don't know, bro. Like I said earlier on Twitter, we gotta come out of these bubbles, man. Like we gotta come out of these bubbles, man. We might need to go outside for a little bit. Put this Twitter out.
Well, let me say this real quick, because like I said, it's a type of movie that people love, and there was some people that disliked it, and the people that disliked it were more black people, more black men in particular, because let's not. The Color Purple is perceived by a lot of people to be a classic type movie, while other people did not appreciate The Color Purple, mainly a lot of black men, because of the betrayal. When we talk about the betrayal of black men, you talk about Celie's father, who she found out later was her stepfather that she had 2 kids from. You got Mrs. character, you got Harpo's character, you even got Mrs. Dad's character in there. So that you really see there's really the only strong black male character you could say that was on that movie was actually Suge Avery's father, who was a preacher. Like he was the only black male character on it that seemed to have any kind of weather all about themselves or whatever on that entire movie. It was basically it was basically about the struggle of black women in there. So like I said, the movie, as kids, we all watched it because our older siblings or cousins or aunts or uncles or whatever, parents liked it. My dad never liked it, and I know a lot of black men that didn't like it, didn't really appreciate it. But then I know a much more black women that actually did like it. It was a type of movie that people always seem to have a line or two they would recite off of there, whatever. So to put it in this context, Volvo, that, and I don't know, like if you can remember, you may not have been around at the time, but you had shows like Married with Children that came on. Married with Children was about the white dysfunctional family, Al Bundy and Peg Bundy. Well, a lot of white people didn't like Married with Children. They didn't like showing white people on TV like that. They didn't appreciate it. They did not like it. When Roseanne first came on TV, Roseanne was considered dysfunctional, even though Roseanne, a lot of people say, well, Roseanne's character and her family is actually more real than a lot of these so-called perfect TV families we see on. A lot of white folks didn't like it. They considered them trailer trash, poor white trash, or whatever. So there's always, it's not just now, black people, they go ahead and they say what they don't like or whatever. At the same time, you have a lot of white folks and stuff that come on too as well. And there's certain shows that come on that they don't appreciate, they don't like, because they don't view it as something positive for them. Also a show that, and this is when, before I was born, this show called, when I saw the reruns of my family, called Hee Haw. Another show that they considered was white trash. A lot of white folks, and even though a lot of white folks liked it, there was still a segment of white people did not want that shown on TV. Beverly Hillbilly. You took the word right out of my mouth. I used to watch that as a kid all the time and stuff with my parents, but people were saying back in the day in the 60s and stuff, people didn't like the Beverly Hill. A lot of white people didn't like the Beverly Hillbillies because it didn't portray them in the right light. Now, here's the thing I'm going to say right here. For white people, what was that?
All in the Family is another one.
All in the Family was a classic, though. You know, a lot of white folks liked All in the Family because a lot of them could identify with Archie Bunker and his bigotry, so they could identify with that.
Right. And it was really poor.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people didn't catch that because you had black neighbors. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they were considered middle class, but the thing was that George and Wheezy them moved into the neighborhood because George was actual, George had the dry cleaners business, so George was becoming a middle class, a upper class black person. So they moved in the neighborhood, like a lot of times you saw with black people moving into white neighborhoods once they got a certain amount of money. Remember, at one time they even tried to keep George and them from out of the neighborhood. But the thing was that a lot of white folks, they All in the Family is one of the most popular shows ever. They loved All in the Family. They loved Archie Bunker's character because he spoke to a lot of what white people really felt and thought in this country at the same time too. But they didn't. The other shows that I mentioned, Married with Children, the Beverly Hillbillies, Roseanne, those type of shows, they consider as dysfunctional. They consider them as almost trash shows. They didn't like them. They didn't think that it spoke positive about white folks. So you always had people that felt a certain way about no matter what color they were, saying, well, hey, this doesn't represent the best of us. The only thing I would say is that white folks, they have 1,000 shows on TV. So if they got 3-4 dysfunctional shows, they can afford it. Whereas with black people was worried about image because, hey, you was one and done. You might get one black show on primetime TV, or you might get, if you're lucky, you might get 2. Now in the 90s, you started getting 3-4 shows popping up in prime time, and you thought you was doing something. So that's the only issue I would see with this right here, that black people say, hey, we don't have the opportunity to have all of this dysfunctional TV. Now, of course, we know nowadays with reality shows and all of that, that's long gone. But that's what, and at the same time, I'll mention another black show that came on that black people didn't like when it first came on. That's considered a classic, a cult classic. In Living Color. A lot of black people, when In Living Color came on in 1990, was like, what in the hell is this right here? Did not like In Living Color. Thought In Living Color was just trash. And a lot of black people thought Martin was buffoonery when it came on in the 90s. Even though Martin had a huge crowd, there was a segment of black people, especially those 35 and up, that felt that Martin involved too much buffoonery in it. Even though we loved Martin growing up.
Can I tell you something?
Who's speaking? Oh, was that you, Numi?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. You got it.
All those shows, I have to understand all those shows. Most of them are just like white trash or a little certain things they didn't like. But that's nothing compared to the Color Purple was a book. They made a movie already, but this is an agenda. This is definitely made to make the black man look. They're already making the black man look like he's a monster, and they want you to keep remembering. So now they're bringing it on because in this movie, they make black men out as rapists, no love, no care, weak. The only one that was strong was the pastor, and he didn't get along with his daughter. And Mister, he was just a man that had a young woman to clean up for him, and he could just have sex with no care or nothing, but just used them. They degraded the black man. They made him look like he was just an evil, no good, hungry, sexual. I mean, it was terrible. Some of the females liked it probably because Whoopi, she grew up and she went through it. She met her sister and she was a seamstress. And of course, she got through it. But it makes black men look terrible. And this is not the age right now when we make them black men look bad. They already emasculated them. Now they make them look like monsters. And I'm not for it. So I won't be watching it.
Thank you.
All right. DJ, I know you had your hand up as well. So go ahead real quick, DJ, and add something in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and get it around the room.
No, you know what it is. People talk, but just to make a long story short, if we can, we definitely need to stay on this Daniel Penny thing. And I guess at this point, considering that the thing was caught on graphic film, that it wouldn't even matter about this $22.6 million he got, because Chauvin, he raised $4 million, like somebody said, and that joke was doing a dime at bare minimum, if not life. You know what I'm saying? And then the other Asian guy that was there during George Floyd's situation, he just got found guilty. You know what I'm saying? So, I guess the tide is changing somewhat, but as long as you got these white folks out here that are online
like a Marjorie Taylor Greene, who would tell Jamal Bowman she felt threatened because of his tone of voice. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing you did to Robo just right now, Sister Shaw. So it ain't a tone. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way black men talk. We have a basic tone of voice that sometimes certain people just don't like to hear that shit, especially when it's coming from a black man, because that shit sounds like you're over talking or you're threatening or whatever, but it's not the case. So at the end of the day, you know, we just got to get out of the whole context of the feelings and just deal with the facts on the table. What else I was going to say? The Color Purple, whatever, you know, I'll pass on that. You know, I don't support black films like this anyway. You know what I'm saying? I've been stopped watching black cinema in the 90s. Real shit. I'm only 43, so do the math. You know what I mean?
Real talk. Thank you.
Because Robo, just like me, I mean, I got my face on his hat too, so I don't want nobody speaking that I was even saying that Robo like rapes or nothing like that. That's not what I was implying. For anybody that just came in the room and just hear me speak, nah, it definitely wasn't like that. That's my brother. I was just making a point of our value system and the things that we view as entertaining and as entertainment. I would just suggest we look at it with a white supremacist eye. Like, look at movies and point out the white supremacist acts and innuendos and all their little secret messages. And it might be doing that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I appreciate Bravo and his view, because believe it or not, I got family members that share the same view as he does. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, us as a non-white black family need to learn, you know, just to you know, be cohesive. You know what I'm saying? Despite if your brother has a different view of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't argue or anything, and I still got love for Bravo. You know what I'm saying? So I just think when we talking about these and when we looking at movies, even by ourselves, let's start like picking out all the white supremacist points and shit, and discuss those as well, because that'll help us learn. You know, that'll help us learn better how they move. You know what I mean?
All right, appreciate that. We got about 60 some people up in the space tonight, guys. Up in the Jumbotron, we got 2 people that went ahead and subscribed to the YouTube channel tonight. The 4th on the left-hand side is the actual YouTube link. For those that have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. For those on Twitter, make sure you got on YouTube, excuse me, go ahead and make sure you guys like, share, and comment on the actual video tonight, guys. So for those that have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, it's up in the Jumbotron, the 4th on the left-hand side. You can go ahead and subscribe while the actual space is going on. We're having a pretty lively and a good space as always, and I appreciate everybody that came into the space that's coming in here speaking tonight as well, too. For those that can support us on Cash App, that's $Newstoter, $Newstoter. The actual topics for the night, like most nights in general, come from the actual Newstoter.com platform. So if you guys have not been to Newstoter.com, make sure you visit Newstoter.com daily, because it is the largest Black-owned news curation media platform today in America. For those that can support and donate and make a contribution, even if it's just $1, that is $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Once again, $Newstoter. For those that do not have a Cash App, we have the Venmo and PayPal up in the Jumbotron. Let me go ahead and get to Sister Wilson. I see her up in here. Wilson, how you doing tonight?
Hi, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Doing pretty good.
How you doing?
Good. Well, you know, I remember it. We gotta remember the time. I mean,
Hey, real quick, Wilson, can we get you up a little bit louder if possible?
Oh, okay. Let me take off my car. Does this work better?
Way better.
Okay, good. I don't think there was a movie that caused such controversy and conversation since Roots. It was Color Purple.
and it really covers so much. It covers homosexuality. It covers religious objections. It covers male patriarchy. It covers women's suffrage, black women's suffrage. It covers redemption. It covered so much, and at the same time, we were on edge about it because we felt that it was airing our dirty laundry. We also felt some kind of way because it wasn't interpreted through the eyes of a director who was black. It was interpreted through the eyes of a director who was a white Jew, male. And how can he connect? It also, I can recall feeling women, black women, God damn, Oprah, you were guys with your career, and now here you are, playing this big fat black man. It was that too. It was a lot, and at the same time, people lauded her for performances. You know what I mean? It was a lot of everything and then some. I was not at that time really conscious of how black men felt. I knew, I heard them and I understood what they were saying, but I wasn't listening. And there's a big difference between hearing and listening. And as I matured into a woman and have been in relationships with men, both intimate and friendships, getting to know more and having more conversations with black men who are my personal friends or acquaintances, I look back at that movie Color Purple and I can see the swords that were going towards black men because there was an undertone, I feel, that resonates today about black men being abusive, black men being patriarchal, black men being, dismissive and violent. And that's not the case. I'm not saying that these things did not happen in black families, but it wasn't that as prevalent as it would seem to be. I understood from some friends of mine back in April in Baltimore, Tarana Burke was at some reparations, whatever, getting up there talking about black male and abuse. I mean, it's like this theme, and I don't like it. And that this movie is coming out again with a new cast, I will not support it. I don't want to see it. I think it's time. I don't even know who's directing it. But when we talk about those shows that you mentioned, all of those shows were directed by white people. Okay, and when you look at something as sensitive as The Color Purple, Steven Spielberg was able to direct that, and then Jonathan Demme directed. Dear God, who was the movie with Oprah Winfrey again? Anybody know that movie that she was in? Jonathan Demme directed it, which was another controversy because they wanted Julie Dash to direct it, and she didn't get it, which she should have. She's a sister and a lauded director. But I forgot the name of that movie. But it was a book. It will come to me. But
is it Beloved or something?
Yes. And so these are personal stories. This is the story of black people and black American people, and we need someone to interpret it through the eyes of a foundational black American who can, and there's enough directors who could have done it beautifully and masterfully to interpret it the way that people could connect. And so, that's my thought on all of that. I won't be supporting the. Once you've told me about Cynthia Erivo, I cannot stand it, and they've got to put her black ass in everything that she doesn't like black American people, but she's doing black American.
She's actually not in there. She was in the Broadway play, I think. Wilson.
Oh, was she? Oh! I heard her name, and I just, I said, okay, good. Anyway, I won't be watching it. As far as Daniel Penny and the Fundraiser, I mean, I don't think everybody in this room is surprised. I think the message is that we must maintain being unapologetic about our blackness, because these white people are shameless when it comes to their hate. They don't give a goddamn. They will show their ass. They don't care. I wish we could raise $5 million on top of that shamelessly and stick our middle finger up at the same time. We just keep moving ahead. I believe that, in life, karma will show itself. This young man did not have to put that man in a chokehold for 15 minutes. He knew exactly what he was doing. And it's going to be very interesting when this case comes to court. I do believe that I think he's going to do time. Now, how much, I don't know. But he's got the entire white race against him. And, white race for him. And, it's a David and Goliath story, I guess. And I think I think we will be fine. And we will find justice with this one, because this guy did not have to do what he did. And these white guys, I noticed, they like to put people in chokeholds. And so, I don't know what that's all about, but it's got to stop. And so I land with there. And I hope everybody is doing well this evening.
Yes, ma'am. Glad to hear from you tonight, sister. You go ahead, Professor. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yes, thank you again, Newstoter. Family, I just want you to understand with this 1985 Color Purple, and of course with this new one, I don't really care about the new one, but I did watch the old one, 1985 Color Purple. What this story was about, and I said it earlier, but I'm gonna tell you what this whole thing was about. Color Purple was about the color purple lips of Whoopi Goldberg. That's what it was about. Blue, you hear the term blue gum lips, where hers were purple gum lips. That's what it was about. There you go. That was the thing with the whole damn thing. Other than that,
she was smoking that purple haze, Professor. Smoking that purple.
That's about it. Cause look, I didn't like it then. I watched it. I remember watching that mess with my mom. And yes, my mom even said something about the fact that it portrayed black men in a certain way that it shouldn't have did. Because, we know there's black men that have been abusive. But it's also white men that are abusive. But in this movie, they try to make it look like black men were oppressive. And that's not black men. We can't be oppressive because we're not the oppressor. That's going to be your white folks. That's your white men. White men are oppressors. Okay? That's what this movie did. And see, this was done by Steven Spielberg, who was a white man, too. Okay? That's what he did. He made this movie where it looked like we were the oppressors, and that's not what black men are. Do black men have flaws? Now, if you want to come to me and say black men have flaws just like any other man, there you go. There you go. But in this American society that we living in, you remember who your oppressors are. And that's going to be white males who control everything in this country. Okay? Now, so back to the theme of that movie again, family. Yes, purple, the color purple, Steven Spielberg really was talking about her purple lips. That's what he was talking about. And I'm going to land right there.
All right. Let me go ahead and get to He Am I, and then I'm gonna get to you, Volvo, and Detroit. He Am I.
Hey, thank you, brother. I just wanted to say one thing about that movie, and that was Oprah Winfrey's character, who was argumentative with every black man, and then got beat up by the white man, and then became a subservient to the white woman. That's all I want to say.
All right. Thank you, He Am I. Let me go ahead and get to Volvo. Volvo, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I'm gonna have to drop down after this. I just want to say, I keep hearing a common thing. Everybody keeps saying the same thing, that this movie makes black men look bad. As a masculine, tall, dark-skinned black man. I don't care if what make me look bad. I really don't care. Do you know how low I think of these people? I think very low. Who was we looking bad in front of? Like at this point, man, these people look at me sideways every day. I look right back at them sideways. I don't care. I know who these people is. How can a white man look at me? How can I look bad in front of a white man when he gotta steal the whole planet? How can I look bad in front of an Asian when he can't even live in this country? How can I look bad in front of a Latino? He can't even go back to Latin America. He don't even know who the fuck he is. I don't care about looking bad in front of them. I really don't, y'all. I really don't. I wish that we would get off that. Oh, we look bad in front of these people. Who are these people? These people trash. These people trash. I'm a black man. I'm the epitome of manhood. You think I care about what they think? I just that really just bothered me. Like that always bothered me. Like, oh, we gotta be on our best behavior in front of them or something. Like, man, I don't care what they think. I don't care what they think, man. I get out here every day. I gotta be up at 4 a.m. anyway. You know what I mean? So I gotta drop down this, but I get up every day and go to work every day. I work around some of the most racist people in the country. I live in Ohio. You know what I mean? When I'm driving through these little small towns, they looking at me sideways and all that. I don't care. I look at them sideways. Fuck them hillbillies. I don't care nothing about them billies. Nothing. I don't care nothing about them crackers. That's just how I feel. Like, all right, I don't care about looking bad. It's a good movie. You niggas need to get off that.
Hey, let me go ahead. Detroit, let me get to you, but let me get to 1865. They haven't had a chance to speak. 1865 Black. Go ahead and unmute your mic. You there, 1865? Yeah, you're a little bit low. Sound like you got AirPods in or something? Or? Okay, let me know when you're ready. You still there? I guess we'll go ahead and 18.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you sound a lot better now. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for letting me speak. I was just thinking. I just tapped in. I love to come to your rooms. Like your rooms really inspire me a lot, man.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. And when I was listening, I'm thinking about like, wow, like they coming out with another color purple, right? And what came to me was, I'm not sure if it's even out yet, but what came to me is like this whole agenda thing where they start bringing out these movies like Woman King, because whatever you do to try to call yourself, denigrate black men, it's kind of like a message to the black woman, right? And to bring this color purple story back up is to try to condition a black woman's mind that black man is some kind of way their enemy, and not to listen to them, not to work with them, to keep the black woman on their side. You know what I mean? When it comes to advocating for their issues. It's a lot of dark stuff in this movie. It might sound funny or it might sound like it doesn't really have anything, deep-seated to it, like really properly planned to come out at certain times when they start to feel like, hey, we're losing these black women. We told them that Kamala was black. Now they're figuring out, wait a minute, she's not black. They must think we fools. So they're trying to reel them back in. And the only way to reel them back in is to separate them from us. So this movie is to try to give them the idea that we are, their enemy. That this, next it'll be a remake of Precious. Like all of this stuff is put out there real subtle, but it's that time, it's campaign season. Democrats don't really have much, to hold on to. The last thing they want to lose is the black woman. and they're advocates. So we get them all watching this movie. They go home ready to get a divorce from their husband. So, you know, I mean, it's just something that we got to think about. Like, it's not just, Innocent was a wonderful movie that they just want to, you know, kind of like rerun. Like, this is, they running out of tricks. You know, and politics is definitely involved in this. Thanks for letting me share.
No problem. And I'm glad you mentioned Precious because I got to say this part right here. I see my girl Trouble coming up here to speak as well too. But it was a few years back, and that's when he was still alive. Paul Mooney was alive. It was this Shaq. You know, Shaq used to have his comedy specials or whatever, and he had Monique hosting it. And without question, they brought out Paul Mooney out there, and Paul Mooney started talking about Precious, and he was like. He was like, black people, we don't need this movie here. He's talking about this is like another Color Purple right here. And he started speaking, he started imitating the movie, it's just like another Color Purple. He talking about your coochie better than your mama coochie. I was like, oh Lord. He said it right in front of Monique too. Even Monique afterwards, Monique was like, no, this nigga did not. No, this nigga did. She was hosting the show. She was like, God damn. She like, that's Paul Mooney, y'all. She like, what can you say about it? Like, rest in peace to this dude, Paul Mooney. And he ain't say coochie either, but you know, I'm trying to keep it as clean as possible. Oh Lord, rest in peace. This man Paul Mooney was it right here, man. Let me go ahead and get to Detroit. Go ahead, Detroit. You got it.
Bovo, I guess he like the Help and the Butler too, if he like the Color Purple. But I thought the Color Purple, it was a metaphor for the color purple, meaning bruises. That's what I thought it meant. I didn't know it had anything to do with any lips. And what you were saying, Newstoter, about her father, Suge Avery's father, I get what you're saying, and I hear how that can make sense. But you know, here you got a father who's a pastor. He goes to church and preaches out of the Bible and, you know, the word of the Lord and forgiveness, but he couldn't forgive his own daughter. And the only time there's any redemption in that movie is like at the end. When people think of the Color Purple, they don't think of Danny Glover helping the lady at the end. They think of all the abuse she went through. They don't think of, you know, all the things that might have been redeemed at the end of the movie. They think of all the turmoil and the horror she went through. So, you know, even though the father forgave her, he forgives her at the end of the movie. I land.
Now, Detroit, I got to go ahead and counter that part real quick, and you're right. But we got to also look at the time frame we're talking about and the type of preacher the father was. You're talking about a time and era where those ministers back then were the fire brimstone type preachers. His daughter, you know, had a reputation. His daughter was in a juke joint. I'm sure that he tried to get her out of there, but the daughter, you know, pretty much went and did her way. Now, how many kids, even from the old mister, but from what he say, I heard she's got so many kids from different daddies and this and that, and I heard she's got that nasty woman disease. Now, we talking about what in the early 1900s or whatever, that one gonna fly there, straight up. That during that time and era, and I get what you're saying, that, hey, being a preacher and you're supposed to be forgiving sins and this and that or whatever. We don't know what the character, we don't know how many times he reached out to his daughter and maybe she just wasn't going to go or whatever. Because when we saw Suge Avery on there, she was a drunk and she had to be clean and this and that or whatever. She didn't have none of her kids or whatever. Who knows how many, like, so, you know, just based off of how that father, he seemed to be a pretty decent man in that time era too. These weren't the prosperity preachers back then. Okay. These were the ones that told you straight up you was going to hell if you didn't follow Jesus' word. So that was the era they were in, and whether right or wrong, that's how he raised her, whatever. Because she was in the shower in the tub crying, my daddy still loved me. He just don't know it. But I mean, he did, and I can get the redemption part. People saying he did. They did come together when she came back to the church and started singing. They came back together, whatever. So yeah, you can, like I say, I watched it before. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I mean, growing up, when you got, like I said, you got aunts and sisters and mom and stuff, and a lot of men in the family, I ain't watching that. But a lot of women, they were gonna watch it or whatever, and you grew up and stuff, and that was all that was on TV. You watched it, so a lot of it we know like the back of our hand. But I get what you're saying, Detroit. But I just had to put that part out there. You know, I as a you don't know, he was a preacher, and I'm sure he tried to raise her right or whatever, and just to totally go her separate way or whatever. Like I said, you're talking about back then. A lot of our and we talking about for us in this space, we talking about great grandmas and stuff in the juke joint era or whatever. So, you know, hey, it was what it was.
Even in the modern time, what father will be proud to go tell all his friends, "My daughter is an OnlyFans model"?
No, I mean, and to put it and like you say in modern times, say if the father was a pastor and his name was what's your boy name that be good Lord, I can't think of his name right now. The cat that be damn, I can't think of his. Not no, I'm talking about the one that he be talking some serious noise, and no, this dude he get on TV. Who? No. I can't. I'll come back to y'all, man. I can't think of his name right now, but I'm gonna come back. When I come back, it'll pop in my mind. But let me go and get the Sister Sean and No Taxation and Trouble, and it'll pop back up in my mind.
What's the dude's particular John topic?
I can't. Not and they see a Credlow Dollar, bro. Come on now. No. This joker here.
Shout out the bluff act. You know what I'm
Gino
saying?
Pastor Gino Jennings. Okay. Imagine if Gino Jennings, if his daughter was doing OnlyFans. This joker tell you, you're going to hell. You're gonna burn. I mean, he don't miss no words about it. He come just like that too. You win all of these short skirts up here. You got your hair all dyed and all that weave in it. Pastor Gino Jennings sound just like Sarge off of Soldier Story. That's who he sound exactly like.
Hey, we don't like him too. Kevin Sanders, that's two different people.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But Pastor Jennings, he's got no cut. I watch him every Sunday, y'all. Pastor Gino Jennings.
I'm straight up. He hell. So that's what I'm saying. Imagine if Suge Avery was his daughter. Do you think he'd be like, "You're going to hell, girl, if you don't change your ways"? And like that's just how it is. Like so. But let me go ahead and kick it to Sister Shy.
Get out my house, you nasty ass. No.
Yeah, what I was gonna say, I just wanted to really clarify myself that I don't care anything about him either. I was wishing Bobo looked like he dropped down. But here's what my point is. We gotta understand, maybe not everybody, I only speak for myself. I was worried about, we know this. We don't give a damn about this, but you gotta remember, we gotta, at least since that movie went out, we got about one or at least one and a half generations that have never even seen the original movie. And at least in the last generation, all they've been constantly fed is to have the black people in general as the face of hate, degeneracy, now with the face of lesbianism and all that. So those kids didn't get that original movie, and that's what I mean by the message. We know better not to care, and we have our own opinions. But if you pile that up with these new viewers that don't know nothing and ain't rooted in nothing, I do believe it's by design. It's to further perpetuate what we've been seeing in the mainstream, in society. It further perpetuates the way we're being presented to the world and to the younger generations. So to me, it's almost like, okay, let me remind this new generation that these people are nothing but a bunch of degenerates. And that's what I really meant about that. And I'll leave it right there.
All right. Thank you, Sister Sean. Let me go ahead and get to no taxation. Everybody make sure too that you don't have any if you do have your headset in, take it out so we can hear you a little bit clear as well too. But go ahead, no taxation.
Hey, Newstoter, DJ and Professor and everybody in the room.
Hey, what's up?
Wow, reparations.
How you doing, sister?
Tired and broke down. Other than that,
Who we gotta beat up? Who big sis.
Everybody. Everybody.
I'm putting on my boxing gloves.
Get the strap, Professor. Get the strap. Get the bad news out of him.
I'm gonna talk about Daniel Penny last because there's something that's been on my mind about that money that's being raised, and I'm gonna go with the color purple first because that's easy. I remember me and my girls went to the movie theater because the color purple came out. It was about 4 or 5 of us. We all sat up there, and these are women that I still know to this day. And color purple came out about 30 some odd years ago. And they still my friends. So it was a while back. And I'm going to tell you why I didn't like the movie and didn't pay any attention to it. The only part I liked, let me put this real clear, was the juke joint part. Other than that, I could not relate. But I was still with the movie when she had the straight razor in her hand, getting ready to shave Mister. And she could have at least, she didn't have to cut his whole throat, but she could have gave him a nice scar on his face, and she didn't do so. And we all jumped up when she had that straight razor and said, "Cut him!" We almost got put out, and she didn't do it. And so, it was not my type of movie because, I just don't know. Even 30, almost 40 years ago when the movie came out, I just didn't know any black women that took mistreatment from black men. I wasn't raised with that. I didn't have that kind of dysfunction in my family. In my extended family, we did not see that on both sides of the family. So I just didn't know anything about that, truthfully. It was just not anything that I was familiar with. So the color purple to me is just meh. And coming out with another one is just, it's going to be an updated version. Oprah got her hands in the cultural pot, trying to mix everything up. She's one of their go-to, right? She's one of the go-tos. And so, of course, she going to go to it. So whatever happens is whatever happens. So that's the color purple. Daniel Penny. Let me tell you why I'm upset about Daniel Penny's fundraiser. Daniel Penny came out with his fundraiser after I came out with the fundraiser for the rally. And I'm not knocking anybody in this room because people give to what they want to give to. People give if they can give. If they can't, if they have a heart to give, they'll give. If not, they don't give. But I just find it awfully strange that I said we're going to go to the monument and let our voices be heard. And I could raise $1,000 from the public. But Daniel Penny and his white boys and his white friends got almost $3 million. I find it strange, I find it alarming, and I find it hurtful. I find it hurtful for every black person in this country that we have not jumped on the opportunity to say to those white boys on Capitol Hill that we're not going to take this bullshit anymore. It was for us. It wasn't never for me. So, and that's been on my mind, and it's been on my heart, and I wanted to say it, and I'm out. I'll drop down.
All right. Thank you, No Taxation. Before I get to you, Trouble, too, I want to say that we got almost 70 some odd people up in the space. We need a couple more people up to go to the actual YouTube channel and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's the 4th one on the left hand side. We also, with this many people in there, we also need some support on the for Newstoter itself as well too. So for those that can donate $1 to the Nice program, it would be greatly appreciated. We got almost 70 people up in the actual space, so we're looking for a few people to go ahead and donate just $1 to the Cash App, $Newstoter, $Newstoter. We're the largest Black-owned news media curation platform today in America, and we need you guys' support. So we need at least somebody. Couple people before the space to close, at least donate $1 to the Newstoter Cash App. That's $Newstoter, $Newstoter. If you don't have Cash App, we have the PayPal and Venmo up in the Jumbotron. But with that many of our people in here, I know we can get a couple of our people to at least donate $1 to the Nice program while we're in. We're going in as well. We got our people up in here, so we need that support from Black people. We support Black-owned business, so support a Black-owned business that supports dozens of Black-owned businesses that curate news from dozens of Black-owned sources, Black-owned bloggers, Black news newspapers, Black curators. So please go ahead for those that can support tonight's program. If you can't, we understand what position you might be in. But if you can, if you have $1 to support, once again, $ Newstoter, $ Newstoter. And thank you to my sister Wilson. Thank you for your contribution on Venmo. So I see you, sister. Let me go ahead and get it. I see my girl Dewan, thank you as well too for your contribution on Cash App. I see my girl Trouble's up here. So Trouble, what's going on?
Hey, Newstoter and the whole family. What's good with everybody tonight?
What's up, man?
Hey now. So, of course, I always got to be the one. So I will be the one. I haven't been in the room long, so I haven't really heard a large portion of the conversation. But the
we in trouble, y'all. We in trouble.
You ain't in trouble. I'll probably be in trouble like I always am when I get to speaking. So, the color purple has and has been and will always be one of my favorite movies. I love. They had an all-star cast. I love all of the actors were my favorite, especially at the time when it came out. And I love some good singing, so that always draws me in. Suge Avery killed it. So the acting was superb. It was on point. I know a lot of people couldn't connect to the movie mainly because you don't know the characters or you never dealt with that in your life. But I could look at every one of the characters and pinpoint to somebody in my life, in my community, or at some point in time that I knew who embodied that character embodied. And that could, I guess some people could say, well, damn, that's a sad thing. Well, no, it's just some people's reality and not other people's reality. So if you don't know a Suge Avery, if you don't know a Mister, if you don't know anybody that's like any of those characters, I guess the movie wouldn't resonate with you. But for some portion of Black America, it resonated because we knew those characters. And I think that like someone in the space was saying when I came in, a lot of times we don't like our dirt being put out there. I don't know what type of image we want to be seen at all times, or maybe we just want to pretend as if these things don't exist in our Black world, but they do. So maybe we don't want to see it on the big screens because it would be nice on another hand if we had more stories that show the beauty of our community rather than the dysfunction that goes on in our community. But I had molesters in my family, on one side of my family, and some of them were preachers. Some of them molested their own daughters and gave their daughters babies, like Cece's dad did. I knew a lot of loose women who ran throughout the community, who you would hear whispers of, oh, she has that nasty woman's disease, like they said in the movie. You know, I think I never, and I still don't look at the movie as putting up a bad light on Black men, because it's like we have these conversations and it's always focused on, well, it makes Black men look bad. Well, it makes the type of Black men that was portrayed look bad because we actually have those type of motherfuckers in our community. We don't have all Black men in the community aren't good Black men. And we need to stop pretending as if they are. There are a lot of good Black men, but not everyone is a good man. And that just isn't in the Black community. That's in everybody's fucking community. All races have them type of motherfuckers in their community. Sorry, my cousin told him, that was the word kind of summed it up really nicely. So when I hear the conversation, it's like, well, I'll say that I don't think there needs to be another color purple. I really think they need to let that one go ahead and live its life and die on out and not make another freaking color purple. The first one did what it did. It opened up a dialogue, and 30 years later, we're still talking about it. We don't need a whole nother one, and we don't need new interpretations, and we don't need to add on what's going on in today's society to add on to it, because it was a timepiece. It was a certain specific era. I remember when we tried to call a cousins club meeting to discuss the molestation on my father's side of the family, and we had an auntie who stopped us from having our meetings discussing the degenerate because she was raped by two of her sister's husbands when she was 12 years old and was damn nearly beaten because they looked at her as being fast. We weren't allowed to have that meeting where we were able to collaborate and say, this is what happened to me, well, this is what happened to you, and this is what happened to all of us. Because it was a norm in the South or in certain parts of the country back during that time frame. So she told us her story of how two of her sister's husbands, who were brothers, had both raped her. And it was kept quiet throughout the family. And it wasn't like nobody knew, but it was something that you didn't talk about. So the fact that we have these movies who highlight some of these things that we as women or as people go through, and now everybody is in their feelings like, well, this shouldn't be displayed for the world to fucking see. What are we hiding? Why are we trying to hide? Of course, that ain't something that everybody wants known, but damn, let's not pretend like it didn't happen. Maybe it didn't happen to you. Maybe it wasn't in your family, but it was in somebody's. And it wasn't just that black men were portrayed in a black light, in a bad light. Hell, black women were portrayed in a bad light too. Celie, the ugly sister. Nettie, the beautiful sister. Both of them had beautiful spirits, but did you get to see the beauty of Celie's spirit in the beginning because you were so focused on her ugliness? Nettie was more deserving of being treated in a good way because she was cute. Tell me that today in society we don't handle people in that same manner, where you would believe that an ugly nigga robbed the store, but the cute nigga didn't. That the ugly nigga would murder somebody. If you see his ugly ass, you be like, yeah, I could believe he murdered somebody. But you bypass that cute one because now he's too fine for that. Tell me that there ain't Suge Avery's running around. She wasn't portrayed in a good light. She was portrayed as a hoe that was sleeping with another woman's husband in her house. And then was a lesbian on top of that, getting the coochie later on. That wasn't a good look for women. Look how they portrayed Sophia. A woman that turned around and got abused by her husband was portrayed as a weak man. And then turned around and ended up with Buster, but was humbled and had to go and work for the white woman after all. Oh, Sophia. Here comes Sophia, that big, loud, fat black woman. We all know there's always been that big, black, fat, loud black woman trope in our community. So that's just my thing. I love the movie because it woke up a whole lot of different aspects of things that was actually happening, because everything is not always going to be peaches and cream and beauty. And I just don't like the fact that when we see these movies, we are hyper focused on how it makes the black man look rather than how it made the black woman look, because it didn't necessarily show us either of us in the best light. Of course, the black man took kind of the front because that was the story. So maybe we need more stories where black men can actually be seen as the good men that they actually are, because we have so many of them out there, and there's so many more different stories to tell, which is why they don't need to tell The Color Purple again, because it's already been done. Let's do something different. And that's my take on that. Daniel, what's his fucking face, Perry, Taxation summed that up. She pretty much summed that up. These white supremacists rush out and they help their other white supremacists with funds, Johnny on the spot, whether they asked them for it, whether they needed it or not. They're there to support them, but we won't support each other worth a good goddamn. But we will argue about some shit, but we're not gonna throw that support behind our people when we desperately need it in that manner. Certain ones of us, can go out there and grift off them dollars, and everybody will be quick to send them money to them, not knowing what they're going to do with it, not get the opportunity to see it, but send it. But then there's others of us who we won't support for nothing. And Taxation was right about that. So we got to do that. And we've got to start forcing the movie industries to do better at the same time. I don't know how we can do that per se. Maybe boycotts or petitions or getting our voice heard, or, you know, however it is that we have to do them, to let them know that there's more important stories within the Black community dealing with the Black family, period, that needs to be heard. Because what I see when I turn on the TV is a Black man with a white woman, a Black woman with a white woman, you know, a Black man with a white man, and anything but Black man and a Black woman having a good Black fucking life. If there is two Black people in a movie, you can never more believe they're not going to have a good relationship, or they're probably going to be first dying proof. So we should spend a little bit of energy on that. And I say my plan.
All right, let me give a shout out real quick to Jimmy and Fredina. We're gonna go ahead, I guess, guys, and get ready to close the space out. We'll take maybe one more speaker for the night, if possible, and we're gonna go ahead and close it out. If not, then we'll just go ahead and close it out now. But thank you, Trouble. Let me go ahead and see. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and close it out for the night, then, guys. So. Yeah, you need to raise your hand. Like, I didn't know you wanted to speak. Go ahead. Go ahead. You got it.
I wasn't, but you said we was gonna close it out. I just want to thank everybody for everything you do, everything you teach me. Every time you tell me to calm down, I talk too much, I talk too loud. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
You know, that disrupt the crowd. You don't care about nothing. Don't explain.
Hey, but I'm gonna go ask Trouble. What you just said was on point. You know, I said I don't know who said this statement. They say Harriet Tubman said it, but every time you say it and you say Harriet Tubman said it, everybody said, she didn't say that. But I would have saved more slaves if only they knew they were slaves. You know, I'm fighting for an industry where they don't know that they deserve more. And I think it's because you know, been just beat down so much over the years. That sometimes you just say it ain't gonna help, it ain't gonna work. But I hope it does, and I'm gonna keep talking about it. And if anybody have anything that they're dealing with, that they need advocacy advice or anything like that, just let me know. I appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you, Tammy. Thank you. So we're going to get ready to go in and close the space out for the night, guys. We'll go ahead and we will catch y'all tomorrow night. DJ Professor, I'll go.
Newstoter, is DJ having a room?
I don't think he is. I don't.
Come over to the liquor store. Let's go. Tuesdays and Fridays.
Yeah, he's going to the liquor store tonight. Governor has a liquor store, so I don't think he's holding his own space tonight. But yeah, no, DJ Professor, y'all want to say something real quick before we close it out?
Fuck Daniel Penny, getting life. That $2 million ain't gonna save you, son. And the Color Purple thing, support underground. Support the underground, y'all. Don't go support the mainstream because the mainstream don't care about you. We just had 2 spaces about that. You know, LeBron ain't doing shit for you. Oprah ain't doing shit for you. And not to say that they have to do anything for anyone, but when they do extend their hand, and as Oprah say, pay it forward, you pay it forward to everybody else except your own people, yo. So after them, I'm out.
And you know what? That Daniel Penny, it hurt me the way they raised that money. It just showed me how deep we are still, you know.
Tammy was actually getting ready to close it out.
I know. I was just saying it at the end. I forgot to put that on my comment.
Oh, okay.
But it'd be
Professor, you want to say something?
Good one, Tammy. Good one. Yeah. But anyway, Trouble, by the way, everything you said was right on the money. We have to take the good and the bad when it comes to our community. So that's one thing I said when I was up here earlier, is that we know that as black men, there's black men in the community that have those type of flaws. There's also strong black men in the community. So I said that earlier. And I want everybody to understand that happens in all communities. You got white men that are weak as hell and low down and demonic. Same with the Hispanics, same with all the communities. So you got bad men in all of the communities, not just here in the black community. You got men that are not fathers all over. Black men, we raise our children. So don't ever let nobody tell you that black men don't care about their children. But you do have black men that don't. You have Hispanic men don't care about theirs. White men don't care about theirs. So that's something that we got to understand in all of this craziness that's going on in the world is bad in every group. But yes, from a media standpoint, they are going to try to put all of the negativity towards us. And we know why they are doing that. So I say to you, family, what are we going to do about it? We're going to start fighting back, which is what we should have been doing years ago, but we've been asleep. And we're not sleeping anymore. So I want to say kudos to the family. We have awakened, and we're going to keep driving. Amen and amen.
All right, so that'll about wrap it up for the night, guys. We appreciate everybody coming into the space tonight. We will see you guys the usual time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Everybody have a good night. Be safe, and we will see you guys tomorrow night.
Peace. Reparations.com, reparations2023.com. There you go.
You're spicy.